Hey, how's it going, Johnny?
Hey, man, how are you?
Doing good, doing good. First and foremost, congrats on the North American Championship victory last week.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Of course, the first question, I think, on everyone's mind, coming off that great match with Damian Priest last week, what's your current relationship with the Wheels? Because obviously you hated the Wheels a couple weeks ago. You love the Wheels after winning last week. What's the relationship with Wheels right now, Johnny?
Look, I never said a bad word about Wheels. I never said anything about that. Was a rumor. I don't know where that rumor started. I don't know who said that. They're a liar. I have always loved Wheels. Everyone knows. Everyone knows Johnny Gargano loves Wheels.
Mm-hmm. How's it going with the transition process and getting Candice to like Wheels as well? Because obviously she didn't win her match last week, so she's not. She's kind of the one now that's not too fond of Wheels.
Yeah, she doesn't like Wheels at all. She was not very happy after Halloween Havoc. She does not want to see any Wheels, and that's difficult because we have to drive places.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't even want to get in the car anymore, and that's just hard now. So now it's just I got to force her to get in the car. But like, come on, get in the car. She's like, I don't want to get in the car. I'm like, come on, get in the car. And she's like, okay, I'll get in the car, but I don't like Wheels. And it just is a big conversation now. It takes us a long time to get places anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got a championship now. Candice, of course, unfortunately fell short of becoming the NXT Women's Champion last week. Is getting both belts and becoming the first married couple to hold gold in NXT still your ultimate goal for you guys?
Yes. I said this a while ago. Destiny, that is our destiny, and destiny is still on the way. You can hold it off as long as you want, but destiny will still happen. And I still do believe Candice and I will be the first married couple in NXT to hold gold together. Mm-hmm. That will happen. That is our destiny, and I'm sticking by that.
And you addressed the Wheels situation, but I think we got to talk about the next biggest elephant in the room, that being the Pumpkin. Johnny, what was the reasoning behind destroying the Pumpkin last week during the entrance? You became the biggest heel on the show when you did that.
Look, did you see that pumpkin? See
Big
that
pumpkin.
Stupid look on that pumpkin's face? Had a stupid look on his face. That pumpkin deserved to get popped. As soon as I saw that pumpkin, I was like, yeah, screw this pumpkin. This pumpkin's going down.
Were you?
I mean...
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
No, please.
No, I was just going to say, obviously we saw that moment that kicked off the show on kind of a low note because we saw you destroy the pumpkin. People have been begging for that pumpkin for so long now, and then we saw it just ultimately destroyed at the beginning of the show. Very, very heartbroken to see that. But I think a lot of other people...
Yeah.
We're also heartbroken to see, too, that we also got to see Doc Hendricks on the show. We got to see Michael P.S. Hayes, but he didn't interact with you. Did you want to see him interact with you at all? Obviously, we saw a picture of him in your house a couple of months ago back at In Your House. Was that something you were hoping for on this show?
So, that wasn't Doc Hendricks, to be fair.
Okay.
That was Michael P.S. Hayes. He was not Doc Hendricks. So, I prefer the Doc Hendricks. I want my Doc Hendricks. Mm-hmm. I want him to sell me merchandise. And I want him to promote things. I don't want Bad Street USA.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to tell me how much a T-shirt is.
Well, hopefully at some point.
So I'm okay with it. We're working up to it. We got Michael P.S. Hayes on the show. Now we're building. We're building. Eventually, he will cut his hair, and he will achieve his true form of Doc Hendricks in our house.
Baby steps. Well, speaking of which, obviously you competed on In Your House earlier this year. You were part of the Great American Bash. You're a part of Halloween Havoc. All these awesome long-term events being brought back for NXT. How cool was that experience for you, Johnny, to partake in Halloween Havoc last week after already competing on these other staple shows from earlier this year?
It's super cool, man. I think if anyone knows me, they know I'm a huge wrestling nerd. I got the chance to go to Connecticut and tour the warehouse and tour the headquarters and things like that. Mm-hmm. And it was completely losing my mind because I saw all the old props and things like that, all the old sets and things like that. And now to be a part of these events, like In Your House, like Great American Bash, like Halloween Havoc, it's the inner wrestler to me is just so thrilled and it's so happy. And kudos to our props team and our stage team, because I tell them this all the time. That was one of my favorite things as a child, was to kind of see the entrances and see the setups and things like that, and how they were different for every pay-per-view. And I think we kind of lost that for a while, but I'm so happy that NXT is bringing that back, bringing back that new element of the entrances and how the props look and how things look. And it just gives each show a different vibe. And I 100% believe that Halloween Havoc was one of NXT's best shows we've ever done.
Oh, completely.
Just from a pure fun vibe standpoint, I think it was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic show, and the set definitely added to it. I mean, there was so much variety on the show between your match, with the House of Terror match, just a really, really strong show overall. Are there any other events from the past, whether it be a WWE or a WCW, that you want to see brought back for NXT at some point? Obviously, we also got War Games back a couple of years ago, so it seems like NXT is kind of specialized in bringing match types and show types back that we haven't seen in a while. Are there any other shows on your list that you would like to see brought back for NXT down the road?
So I think a fun concept could be the Cyber Sunday / Taboo Tuesday
Okay.
kind of concept where you could vote on the match types and things like that, especially I think in this day and age with social media being as prevalent as it is. I think that could be a very fun show, a very interactive show for everyone to kind of join in on. So that is one of them. I think like that's my main want right now, is kind of a Cyber Sunday / Taboo Tuesday sort of vibe.
We got to see Halloween back last week in the form of Halloween Havoc. Would you be interested in partaking in a Christmas show by any point later this year for NXT?
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to partake in a Christmas show, and I already kind of said that if there is a Christmas show, there better be an inflatable tree. And if there is an inflatable tree, you better believe something's going to happen to it.
Well,
or inflatable Santa. I'll take either or, Santa or tree.
Yep. Well, either one. I know we usually kind of get the Santas and then the fake Christmas presents on Raw and SmackDown. So hopefully we get a blow-up tree or a blow-up Santa on NXT if that is to happen later this year. It was kind of speaking of Christmas. How much thought went into the whole Nightmare Before Christmas costume that you had as well as Candice on that same show?
So we kind of sat back and we knew we were going to do special gear for Halloween Havoc. And we kind of wanted to do a couple's gear. And the first Halloween couple that popped into our head was obviously Jack and Sally. So we decided we were going to do that concept, and obviously having Padme, our puppy, as Zero was kind of a gimme as well. I kind of sealed the deal there. So I sent the concept over to my gear makers, Main Event Gear, and they created it from scratch. I didn't send them a drawing, didn't send them anything. I said, hey, can you make me Jack Skellington-inspired gear? Can you make Candice a Sally-inspired vest with wings? And they were all over it because they're huge Disney nerds as well. And I got that. Looking at it, I got it the day of the show, and looking at it, the way it came out, I was so happy with it. I think it's one of my favorite gears we've ever done. And we didn't really get to do anything Halloween-y this year. We didn't go to any parties. We didn't go to anything like that.
Yeah.
So Halloween Havoc was kind of our place to dress up and take a picture. So that was our Halloween. Halloween Havoc was our Halloween, and we stuck the puppy in to kind of take a picture in her Zero costume, and yeah, it was super cool.
No, it's a great couple costume too. I mean, it's not one of those things that you said you automatically thought of that, but that wasn't really something a lot of fans were thinking of going into the show, thinking of how the superstars would dress up, yourself, Candice, Shotzi, and it ended up being one of the best parts of the entire show. You're my girlfriend's absolute favorite, so when she saw the costume, she popped big. She thought it was awesome. Speaking of which, obviously coming out of the match, you're the all-new NXT North American champion, a championship, of course, you've won before. How did that championship win kind of compare to all the other championship wins that you've had in NXT up to this point, Johnny?
I think this one's going to be different. I think before, I was the old Johnny who was a little more worried about the climb than he was about the view from the mountaintop, and it was more about the chase for me before. That was always like the big deal, especially being the babyface good guy that I was. It was all about the chase. It was all about finally getting the title, but then like I would always lose it immediately. I've never had a true title reign in NXT, a true chance to take a title and elevate it. I've never had a chance to have that title and make it mean more than it already does. So that's kind of where my head's at here. I'm going to take the North American title, and I'm going to make it the most important title in professional wrestling. I'm going to do everything I can to defend that title and make it even more important than it already is. That's my goal. And that's a very exciting premise for me.
And when we spoke a couple of months ago, I asked you what your dream opponent was for TakeOver, and you mentioned obviously Triple H and Shawn Michaels are on that list, but in terms of the active roster, you mentioned Kyle O'Reilly. And at the time, Kyle O'Reilly was still very much a part of Undisputed Era. I don't even think when we spoke the last time he was even on TV. So, fast forward a couple of months later, he's now involved in the NXT Championship picture. He's a bona fide singles star. That's a match that we can absolutely see at some point on a TakeOver. Is Kyle O'Reilly your ultimate opponent that you want to defend that championship against at some point?
Definitely. I mentioned Kyle O'Reilly, and that has not changed. I'm so happy to see him finally get his due, and people finally need to realize what kind of great singles wrestler he is as well, on top of already being a great tag team wrestler. I think he's finally breaking out, and I think me versus Kyle at a takeover would be amazing for a death for the North American Championship.
Any other opponents you're looking forward to mixing it up with at some point over that championship? Because it's such like the workhorse championship of NXT, and all the titles are great, of course, but that championship specifically has always been kind of the workhorse title of the show. So you and Kyle would be a great matchup. Are there any other opponents that you haven't faced yet, in addition to Kyle, that you're looking forward to mixing that up with at some point?
Yeah, there's another guy that I think is also breaking out now as well. We have never faced one-on-one, but I think we would match up very well, and that's Kushida.
Mm-hmm.
I think me and Kushida one-on-one could also be something very special.
Yeah, that could be a great match, too. So in the last couple of months, we've gotten to see a little bit of Indy Hartwell helping out Candice, helping her win her matches a few different times. You had a match a couple of weeks ago with Austin Theory, showed some respect to him after your match. Not saying that this is something that will happen or could happen or whatever, but would leading a stable of some sort, whether it consists of those superstars or someone else, be something that interests you at some point, Johnny? Because it's something that we haven't really seen you involved in up to this point in your NXT career.
And it's true. I've always been kind of by myself in NXT. I've always kind of been a lone wolf. But I think it would always have to be right place, right time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I appreciate talent, and I also appreciate loyalty. I think that, among everything, is the Gargano way. If you stay loyal to those who are loyal to you. And Indy Hartwell gives great presence. I mean, she gave us a great TV. And just like Wheels, I never said a bad thing about Indy Hartwell, ever. I always liked her. Always thought she was great. Always thought she had a bright future. So, I mean, I guess you never know. It could be something on the docket, but you might just have to tune in to NXT to find out.
So you mentioned the TV. How's that been working out for you guys? Were you able to watch The Mandalorian on it when it premiered last week?
Yes. Oh, man, it was so good. That first episode, next level, man. Oh, my God. I'm such a Star Wars, Clone Wars / Rebels fan as well. So it's kind of like a deep dive. And to see The Mandalorian with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau kind of using a lot of that elements as well. Like, it's my inner Star Wars nerddom is just, it's super cool. I'm so excited for the season.
It's already off to a strong start with the Boba Fett reveal at the end of episode 1. Where do you think they go from here in the remainder of the season?
Oh, man. It's so hard to tell because obviously Boba Fett wants his armor back. But, like, obviously you want to see, like, a Boba Fett Mandalorian kind of face off at some point. Or maybe it's like a team up. I don't know. Like, I think they're going to go against each other for a bit. I think the ultimate kind of thing at the end could possibly be, I mean, obviously people want to see Ahsoka. People want to see characters from Clone Wars, characters from Rebels popping up here and there. Like, I would love to see the Mandalorian finally wield the Darksaber. I think that'd be cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say. I'm just kind of going along for the ride. I'm just super excited. I'm not one of those, like, jaded Star Wars fans who are like, it's got to be like this, or if this doesn't happen, I'll be very mad. Like, I'm just along for the ride, man. Kind of like with wrestling. Like, I think wrestling and Star Wars have the most passionate / the most craziest fans in the world.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
I'm kind of just something where it's like, look, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to get too riled up about it if something doesn't happen.
I mean, especially at a time right now.
If Baby Yoda dies. If Baby Yoda dies, I might freak out.
I mean, how was...
I'm like, oh, no, this is bad.
No, 100%. Hopefully we're not going to get that. Hopefully he's going to continue to be a character on the show going forward. I mean, was that never an idea for you guys to have Padme as Baby Yoda as a costume at some point? Obviously not this year with your, Nightmare Before Christmas costume, but maybe at some point in the future?
Yeah, so we actually were potentially going to do, like, me as Mandalorian, Padme as Baby Yoda. And then, like, really, what would Candice be? Can it be Cara Dune? I don't know. Like, it was kind of one of those things where, like, I don't know what we do there.
Yeah.
But then it kind of became like, okay, but Padme's name is Padme. Maybe she should be Padme. And then I would be Anakin. And then but then it's like, why am I Anakin? And then, so it was a lot of, like, way too much thought into, like, okay, well, I would be Anakin. What would Candice be? And it'd be, yeah. So we just, we're still working on it. We're still workshopping it right now.
Maybe for next year's Halloween Havoc. So that's something to look forward to for the future. Is there? Well, you mentioned before how the Star Wars and the wrestling fan bases are so similar in crazy different ways, which I completely agree with. And especially right now where we have, like, so little to look forward to with, like, all the Marvel movies being bumped back and everything. We're getting The Mandalorian. It's already off to a great start. Nothing really to complain about there. Is there any one Star Wars character, Johnny, that you say that you can relate to the most, whether it be from Star Wars itself, the overall universe, or The Mandalorian, or whatever?
Yes, so I will say Anakin Skywalker.
Okay.
Especially given my current arc on NXT, to go from like the pure, innocent, chosen one babyface to kind of the dark, demented heel. Anakin Skywalker is kind of Anakin Skywalker is easily one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time, just given his journey. So I will say Anakin Skywalker easily.
So does that make you the current Darth Vader of NXT, or just Anakin? We talking like episode 3 here of NXT?
I mean, I don't think I've reached my final form yet. So we're almost there. We'll see.
So with that being said, final few questions for you, Johnny. Kind of on that same subject, you've been in NXT now for 5 years, which is crazy to think about that it's been that long from the time that you had, the time that you debuted in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, the very first one, to present day. How have you seen your role kind of shift behind the scenes from starting out Tommaso Ciampa to what it is right now as kind of like a locker room leader of sorts?
Yeah, I think you earn a certain level of trust. Obviously, when I first started, I didn't have a contract. I had to scratch, fight, and claw for everything I was given and kind of earn every opportunity I got. Now I'm a little more trusted. I think if you look at the vignettes and things like that I've been doing, I have a very, I don't say heavy say, but they listen to my feedback, which is awesome. And I couldn't ask for a better place. I think that makes a great work environment. I think that makes a great product as well. Because if you're just forcing your talent to do something and they don't feel it, if they don't believe it, it's going to come off as fake. What you're seeing on TV right now is honestly, I know everyone sees Johnny Gargano and see me as the true babyface, the white meat babyface, all of that. What you're seeing on TV right now with the wheels or things like that is the most Johnny Gargano you will ever seen on television. It's the real me. Like, you can ask anyone that knows me. You're seeing the real me now, which is weird to say, but that's what you're getting. And it's fun. Like, it's so much fun to be able to play a character like this. And for me, I love the opportunity to kind of do something different. And I think we talked about this too. Like last time we talked, is if you do something the same way for so long, it gets boring. You get stagnant. And I was bored and I was stagnant. But now, I'm having fun again and I'm enjoying things and I'm able to do goofy things with wheels and things like that. I made the joke where, if you give me an inanimate object, you give me a TV, you give me a wheel, I will get it over. I will make you need something. That's kind of my goal now, is just kind of get other things over and get other things that rub, whether it be people, whether it be objects, whatever it is, whatever. I want to make it where whatever Johnny Gargano touches is important on the show. And I think that's my role now, is to kind of take what I was given and kind of pay it forward and pass it along however I can.
Final 2 questions for you, Johnny. Are you disappointed, though, to not see NXT involved in the Build to Survivor series this year? I know you weren't involved in it last year just due to your injury and whatnot. It's purely Raw and SmackDown. Any thoughts on NXT's exclusion from the Survivor series build-up this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little disheartening just because I wasn't a part of it last year. I didn't get that opportunity to kind of do that different thing. But I'm totally fine with NXT doing its own thing and living in its own world and being on its own island. And I think it can stand the test of time on its own island and do what it does. I think at this point, I've done so many interviews and I've said it so many times, NXT is a third brand. And I truly do believe that. I truly do believe that NXT is some of the best content out there for people to watch. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say I'm a little bummed that I'm not taking on Sami Zayn. I think a lot of people would love to see Johnny Gargano versus Sami Zayn, especially in our new forms. It's just a different departure from where we were before. But yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed, but also, I'm totally fine with it because I'm totally cool with what NXT is doing on by itself.
Yeah. No, for sure, 100%. Final question for you, Johnny. Are this, you mentioned the post-match segments that we see after the shows. We were talking about the wheels, like the one last week with Candice on the dolly or whatever it was, which was amazing. Are those anything, do you put thought into that stuff beforehand, or is it just completely off-the-cuff stuff that when the camera's on, you just kind of go off with whatever?
So that's just real random stuff. And it's literally just, we will, bring us over there. They're not going to say what they're asking us. Me and Candice kind of go off and do our own thing. And my goal now, and what I try to do, is I try to get Candice to break. I try to get the interviewer to break. That's basically, if you watch any of those things, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm just being absolutely ridiculous trying to get people to laugh. So yeah, no, there is no thought put whatsoever into that. I can honestly tell you, right before we filmed the one with the dolly, I looked over and I saw a dolly, and I was like, oh, I'm going to use this. That was the only thought I put into this. The Aleister Black stuff, anything like that, nope. That was all spur of the moment, all improv, all just us having fun on camera. And I think, like I said earlier, that's kind of, a lot of people enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people saw that and they really dug it. Because I think they can see that we're having fun, and when you're having fun, it comes across fun. And I think that's what NXT needs. I think that's what society needs right now. It's just that fun, goofy entertainment that you can't find other places.
Definitely. I mean, it definitely translates. It just makes everything so much more fun. So people got to check that stuff out as well. So, Johnny, thanks again for the time, man. I appreciate it. Great talking to you again, and best of luck with everything in the future.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.